I was sexually assaulted by someone. I definitely lost my worth, lost my value, just lost everything kind of that day.
The Children's Advocacy Center responds to every single sexual crime that happens to a child in the county. Every single day, about 8 people make a new report of that crime. This is being one of the most common things that happens to young people, and people who are in it feel like they're the only one it's ever happened to.
So going into senior year, I was pretty excited. It was, my final year. I was excited about college. I was excited about last everything. I had a lot of friends in the grade that I was in and the grade below me. And definitely every weekend I was always with them, always doing something with them. We would go to the games together, go to all the sporting events. I definitely spent a lot of time with my friends throughout high school.
I always admired that she kind of knew everybody and was just like this really fun person that people liked to be around. She just seemed like she was kind of like the popular person, and I always kind of not really was jealous, but I always wished that I could be like that.
I ran cross country and track, that was really big for me. The things I really enjoyed doing. I was the volleyball manager in high school, but mainly I just ran. I had a really great time my senior year until about November. So, towards the end of that first year, I was sexually assaulted by someone. I was definitely shocked by it. I felt a lot of confusion, shock, betrayal. I felt very dehumanized. I mean, it was for sure the most traumatic and violent day that I can recall in all of my life.
If I could give you one event or one night that really changed my view on the world, it would be the night that I found out that she had been sexually assaulted. I went into my room and I just remember looking in the mirror and saying how could someone do this to my sister?
After my family had found out and a few others, it was really difficult for me because I was set on really not anyone knowing what had occurred. I truly felt that I was to blame, and I carried the belief rather than the perpetrator. And then to go back to school was really difficult for me. I remember sitting in class and just flashbacks, just kind of replaying what had happened over and over, just kind of carrying this all in silence and not really telling anyone about it.
She was struggling, but she didn't want anybody to know.
The secret keeping is such a complex part of sexual assault. The way these crimes unfold for a lot of people is they're manipulated and what we call groomed. So part of the process that an abusive person does is coerce you or try to trap you into doing something and get yourself into a situation where you feel trapped.
I stayed in denial for about a year. I graduated high school and was convinced that this, didn't affect me because I didn't want to allow it to. Coming up on the year anniversary, suddenly I just realized that my whole life was in shambles.
The imprint of this crime stays a lot longer than people expect. So they think that they are going to get through it. They think they can handle it maybe alone or with a trusted friend, and often that is not enough. They may get depression or anxiety later on that they don't feel like is related to the assault, but actually we know in the business of trauma that it often is related. We may see that their schoolwork is starting to be compromised because their mind is wandering, or they're having intrusive thoughts during the day. They might be having nightmares at night, so they're sleeping poorly. It shows up in a lot of ways.
Seeing how it affected her, that kind of broke me, because I knew that there wasn't a whole lot that I could do to help her, but I saw that she was going into this dark place and that it was really killing her, honestly.
I felt very empty, very worthless, couldn't really find a purpose or meaning in my life. I had just kind of given up in a sense. And really my second semester of college, I realized that something had to change because I couldn't live like that anymore. And so when I sought help, professional help, I watched my whole world change. I really had to, build myself back up, bring myself up from absolutely nothing. I truly realized that I had felt called to work with sex crimes. Like, I feel like this is truly what I'm called to do. I'm currently, in the master's program at the University of Arkansas. I'm pursuing a master's in sociology with a concentration in criminology, and I am doing all of my research over the impact of sexual violence. And once I graduate, my plan is to join the FBI and seek justice for people that have experienced this.
I'm very proud of her, and I hope that by sharing her story, other people will see that it does happen. It happens to people that you wouldn't even think it would happen to, and it's not something to joke about.
I think about the young version of me at 18 years old that didn't know how to handle this, didn't want people to know, was definitely in denial, was doing anything like not to feel this, to kind of suppress. That me was definitely much different than where I am now. Now I really feel like I have spent a lot of time pursuing this healing journey, and it's something that I continue to pursue. I don't see it as it's shameful to be assaulted. I see it as, is it shameful to be a perpetrator of sexual violence?
One voice maybe they can't pay it back, but they could pay it forward. And going public with their story might be a way to pay it forward for someone else.
It does get better, and you can heal. You can move forward. You can get through this. And even if you can't imagine how you could possibly get through this, know that I felt that way once too, and I can finally confidently say that it does get better.
Hey, listen up, I've tried to tell you this 100 times. Not